some cleaning before the new year, try to close out the year, just deep cleaning the home or just cleaning as much as I can. I'm trying to be very intentional because I have a whole lot to do today in such a small amount of time to get it done. I also have the kids running around and doing things, messing up and wanting my attention as well. So I'm going to be nice to myself while I try to get this done. I just want to try and clear out a lot of the clutter and just get rid of a lot of the mess so that I can have a clear head space going into the new year. So I'm going to take you guys along with me, and we're just going to go ahead and just get this done. So if you need some cleaning motivation, then I hope that this will be helpful and serve that purpose for you. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. One family tradition that I have always carried throughout my family since I was a little girl is that every year have all of the Christmas decor down before the new year. My mother used to tell me that it was bad luck to have the Christmas decor up and to have the house messy, and I think that this was partly because she just wanted to convince us to help her clean up the house and clean up our rooms and things like that. Whatever the case, it worked, but it also stuck with me. For some reason, no matter what, I cannot allow my home to still have Christmas decor up and to still be messy once the new year begins. But my reason for it has changed. It's not about bad luck, considering that now I'm an adult. I do not believe in bad luck. But I do believe that a lot of the clutter and messiness of the home can definitely have an effect on my mood. It can have an effect on my mindset, and can also just create a lot of stress for me. Stress that already for some reason has been a thing to normally come about around the holiday season. There is so much about Christmas that a lot of people would just label as stressful, such as the extreme cleaning, the extreme decorating from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas, from gift giving and buying all the Christmas gifts for the whole family, as well as making sure the home is together to be able to host family, cleaning up after family, preparing the really big meals. Not to mention, if you live up north like me, the weather and the season is changing, so we also have a lot of things to do outdoors just to get the home winterized and ready for the winter. With all of this, it can be very, very stressful, especially if you are a mother or a homemaker, where a lot of the weight of this stuff falls on your shoulders. Since having a newborn who is almost 6 months now, things have changed. I had no desire to allow myself to be overwhelmed and stressed out, and it took me to hit a breaking point to realize this. And this breaking point came about right about sometime around Thanksgiving. All of the signs and everything were, like showing themselves, and leading up to this moment, I could feel myself slowly becoming overwhelmed. You see, throughout my pregnancy with my daughter, I didn't really sit down a lot. I have always been the type of person that pretty much likes to plan out everything down to a T. It just helps me feel like I'm in control. It helps me feel like I got a wrap over things, and this can be very, very harmful, especially because we are not supposed to be in control all the time. There are a lot of blessings in just surrendering control over to God. When we try to control everything, we miss out on so much. For one, we miss out on just seeing what God has in store for us and has in plan for us. I believe that His plan is always, the ultimate plan, no matter what we do, no matter how much we try to control it. But when we just sit back and let God take care of everything, it just gives us some really amazing testimonies, just being able to see how He intercedes on our behalf. And so we pretty much planned our pregnancy with our daughter, and from the moment we found out we were pregnant with her, I began planning for her arrival. I began a full nursery transformation, all of which you guys can find on my channel. There will be a playlist about my pregnancy journey in which we began taking away all of the furniture in the nursery, painting the walls, cleaning the floors, building the furniture, all of the shopping hauls, all of the things. I wanted to have it done by a specific date so that we can then have a a baby moon and take a trip to Florida to also celebrate my son's birthday. I wanted all of that to be done so that by the time we came back, I could get into full nesting mode and then finally sit down and prepare for the labor that I desired. And yes, all of this I had planned out and everything. I did some gardening. I did a lot of walking around outdoors at Disney World and basically just thoroughly enjoying every bit of my pregnancy. I mean, it was amazing. I really did enjoy it. And I think that was okay for me. But after I had my daughter, it took me a minute to snap into the whole relaxation and healing phase. I immediately, as soon as we came home, we had a family member come over to spend some time with us, whom with open arms we welcomed, mostly because we knew, that it was all out of love. We love her, she loves us, and we really wanted her to see, the baby, to meet her niece and everything. So we had her come over, but instead of me just allowing her to meet me and our family right where we were, as soon as we came home, I sat the baby down and I just started cleaning up the house immediately out of the hospital, trying to make sure that the home looked perfect, just so that when my sister-in-law came over, it would look comfortable and clean and good for her. And I don't know, it's like this weird adrenaline that just works sometimes until it just doesn't. At the moment, it worked out. And although I was a little bit tired, I knew that my body at that moment had the capacity to, push itself. And I don't know what it was. I always say that is just God, protecting me even when I'm not protecting myself. And I love him in that way. And so from that moment, I just continued. I, did what I could. I tried to just be super mom and everything. And slowly but surely, I began to tire out a little bit. Things were still going well. We homeschooled and things like that. But then eventually, there were just days where I could feel it. I could just feel myself beginning to tire out. And it happened right around the time of which I should normally be getting up to heal, right around baby girl was 6 weeks old. When she was 6 weeks old, all of a sudden I was just tired and overwhelmed. So I took a few days, got back up and did it again. Point is, fast forward to Thanksgiving, all the overwhelm, all the stress. I've gotten all the kids' Christmas gifts out of the way, and then came hosting the family. And within that time frame is when I finally hit that breaking point. And that is when I was just so tired. I couldn't handle it anymore. Preparing a home for 3 people is one thing, but preparing a home for more than 20 people and cooking a meal for more than 20 people after having a baby, that wasn't doable. In that instance, when I kind of just broke down, my body began to feel weak and I started to be dizzy every day. I couldn't get rid of a headache. There were just so many signs telling me to sit down, and I believe that too was God interceding on my behalf, trying to tell me something. From that moment on, I decided that this is going to be my slow season. This is going to be my season of rest, my season where I'm not just going to try and keep up with everyone else. I'm not going to try to keep up with the trends of the holidays. I'm not going to do it all just for the sake of it. I really am going forward, and my goal for the upcoming new year is to just slow down and be intentional and be present in every single moment and give myself some grace. So here in this video, I am cleaning my home, but I am doing so kind of slow. I'm just doing what I can. There are times where I have to clean while holding my daughter and my baby, which you guys can see, which I feel the need to inform you all that my cleaning spray is actually homemade. It has no toxics, no chemicals, no fumes that the baby and myself really should not be inhaling. So all is safe here in cleaning. If I have to stop cleaning to tend to her, that is okay too. I wasn't trying to make my home look aesthetically pleasing and perfect. I didn't care about any bad luck. mostly I just wanted to get rid of the clutter so much so that I can just hear God's voice in this season. I realized that we have a lot of stuff. Just looking around, we have too much stuff. Like, we literally have like 3 different syrups, 2 different steak sauces, a ton of different barbecue sauces. A lot of this stuff is like half empty. We just don't need it. A lot of it is unhealthy for us. And so I'm kind of just going through all the things in my condiments cabinet right now, getting rid of anything that we haven't really been using, anything that's like extremely unhealthy and too salty, anything that is almost gone or close to the expiration date, and trying to really condense this stuff down. And part of having so much stuff is also having to make a lot of decisions, having to choose, having to clean a lot more, having to do a lot more laundry, having to organize more stuff. And everywhere you look, there's like more stuff, more cleaning, more organizing, more chores, more work to do, and less time to spend with God, less time to spend with family, less time to hear God's voice and just see what it is that He wants you to do in this season. And so from here on out, I am entering a season of rest, a season of intentionality, and a season of focusing on God and getting rid of all of the distractions, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And you guys, for me, I really want to say that this is really hard, but this is something that God put on my heart, and I know He did. In the Bible, Psalms chapter 46 verse 10 tells us how important and how fulfilling it is to just slow down and embrace a slower season. It says, "Be still and know that I am God." And that specific verse in one of my devotionals, where I was just going through my devotion as like one of those things that I just kind of have to do, but not, actually really spending time in that. I normally am doing that while I'm multitasking and doing my devotionals as like another thing that I know I have to do and check off of my to-do list because I need God every day. But in doing so, I feel like I wasn't reflecting enough. Reflection is just not something that I do often. And so as we close out this year, I am going to spend a full 24 hours just reflecting on the past year and sharing some gratitude, just thanking the Lord for everything that He has done, for us throughout the holiday season. It honestly was a lot, and the holiday season is supposed to be a joyful thing, and thinking about this and realizing this is also part of what has inspired me to slow down, because as the world rushes through the holiday season with busy schedules and endless to-do lists and hurried hearts, I decided to take a different approach and just slow down in the winter season and take time to pause, reflect, and just savor the beauty of God's provision. So I just wanted to trade in all the normal, like fast paced and power hours and speed clean, and instead just focus on stillness, get rid of the chaos and trade it for peace, and get rid of the pressure of wanting to do it all and trade it for just gratitude of everything that I already have and contentment in where I currently am in the season that I am in. And it's not just about doing less, because as you can see, I'm still cleaning my home, but it's just about being more present in it and doing it with more intention. As you can see, this video is a lot slower paced. I realized that sometimes I can walk extremely slow, like a grandmother, and that's part of me just slowing down. There's no race, on the clock to get it all done, unless you're thinking about my daughter's like baby monitor, where I had to get it done before she wakes up from her nap. But even still, if she does wake up, so be it. It's still going to be there. I can get to it, eventually. And part of getting rid of a lot of the stuff that we have in our house makes cleaning a little bit more easy. But I decided to slow this cleaning video down a little bit for you guys, instead of having it on, speed clean mode, just to have it on a slower paced cleaning video, a little bit more relaxing, a little bit more just doing it, not to just get it done, but finding ways to just embrace it. You know what I mean? So that is my goal in cleaning. At one point, I used to love cleaning, and then eventually it started to feel like a chore. And everyone labels cleaning as a chore, but I label it as homemaking, and homemaking isn't a chore. Homemaking is a ministry. It is a calling, something that God has called us to do. Motherhood is something that God has called us to do. It's a calling and it is a ministry. There are so many verses and scriptures and reminders in the Bible that reminds us that motherhood and homemaking actually is a ministry and a calling. It's not just a role, or it's not just checking off of a to-do list, but instead it is a beautiful picture of raising our children to become disciples of the Lord, to love God and to make the world beautiful and brighter, place in the future. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 27, for instance, says, "She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness." In that way, it tells us that God does call us as homemakers to not just sit around and be idle, but to actually, take care of our home. And it doesn't have to be done, on a checklist. It doesn't have to be done expeditiously. It doesn't have to be a speed clean or a power hour, but we're doing it because one, our family needs us to do it, but also because God does call us to do that as homemakers. And you can find, joy in doing what the Lord has called you to do, in doing something that your family and your husband and children are also going to benefit from as well. Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 6 through 7 also tells us that these commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts, and you impress them on your children. So when we do something a little more heartfelt without the grumbling and the complaining, and we do it in front of our children, this is something that one day they too will learn to grow up and do it. It's not going to be as heart-aching and wrenching and exhausting and tiring as many of the homemakers of our generation constantly kind of does feel these days. We feel the overwhelm, we feel the exhaustion and the tiredness, and part of it has to do with all of the new trends today that we're trying to keep up with, and the excessiveness, try to keep up with what everyone else is doing and comparing our home with others. But part of it is also that in some ways, for me personally, is that it wasn't really instilled in my heart. It wasn't something that I grew up watching my mom do and love. It wasn't something that I saw her do intentionally, but more so like a chore. So when we do it in a different way, that does have an effect on our children as well. So as I begin to dive deep and really lean into this calling, I invite you to join me and take some time out to just pause and reflect. Find time to ask God and talk to Him and ask Him, how can we align our home and motherhood and homemaking with God's design? And what steps can we take to bring His presence into our daily routines and use that to help us create a homemaking routine that works for us, and to be more present and intentional in the things that we do with our children. Making sure to just remember that homemaking isn't a chore, but it is a ministry. It's creating a space where love and faith can flourish, teaching our children not just with our words, but by the way that we live, the things that they see us do and how they see us do it, because that is important, how they see us do it. And we want to do so with good intention and with a good heart, because even though motherhood and homemaking might not always feel glamorous and glorious, it's extremely important and it's deeply sacred, and we ought to embrace them as the gifts that they actually are. So with every meal that we make, every floor that we sweep, every shirt that we fold, and every prayer that we whisper over our family, it's important that we remember that we are doing God's work. So by the end of this year, I'm hoping to have spent some time reflecting. I'm going to do a 24-hour fast of just prayer and devotions and Bible reading, talking to the Lord, giving Him gratitude, and just pour my heart out to him. So I hope that maybe this is something that you too can do in your own special type of way, to just figure out what works for you and your family and try to let go of the need to get it all done, the need to do the speed cleans, the need to rush through everything. Because if you, like me, are a mother, then you too know how precious time is. And we want to make sure that with our time, we are spending it doing things that we love, and make sure that in the midst of doing it all, we are still using it as a way to disciple our children and to teach them out of love and out of goodness. So let's just try to embrace the sacredness of this season, no matter how messy it may feel or how difficult it may seem. When we nurture our children, just remember that we are shaping the next generation for Christ. So I'm going to end it with this scripture. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as if you are working for the Lord. And remember that your home is more than just four walls, it is a reflection of your heart. Since my children are still pretty calm and content, I'm moving on to our front room, which is kind of like our homeschool room slash our sitting room. Kind of don't spend a lot of time in here unless it's for homeschool, or sometimes my husband and son come in here and play the game together. They play the piano together, and my husband does my son's music lessons. But after having to remove the homeschool room from upstairs and change it into a nursery, we've been trying to slowly figure out how to convert this room into a homeschool area, mostly for once Nevaeh is a little bit older and I'll be homeschooling the both of them, because we're going to need a little bit more space. Noah's going to move up to a larger desk. He's going to have more subjects. He's probably going to begin using the computer for certain things like computer lessons. And Nevaeh is going to be doing a lot of Montessori learning, so we'll have more shelving units. Right now, Nevaeh being only 5 months old, some of our homeschool sessions take place right at the kitchen table, where I can basically multitask by doing homeschool in the kitchen. Sometimes Nevaeh can sit in her high chair now that she is learning to sit up more, or she can sit inside of her baby swing. We have a bassinet in the family room, which is right off of the kitchen. And sometimes I can also prepare breakfast or lunch or dinner while we are schooling. I can get some cleaning done, make my coffee. There's a whiteboard over the kitchen table. So yeah, for all those reasons, it kind of just works right now, and that's okay. But eventually I am going to move into this room. But as you can see, it's gotten pretty unruly and messy. We had a Christmas tree and some Christmas decor in here that I don't think I actually had gotten a chance to show you guys, which kind of is a bummer. But I told myself I wasn't going to beat myself up about it, because like I said, I kind of had a moment around Thanksgiving where I kind of just began to feel extremely overwhelmed. And when I feel that way, I make sure that I really focus in on it. I don't want to push myself, ignore my health, because my children and my husband need me. They need me to be healthy and well, so it's not fair to them either, even though I feel like I'm doing it for them. Some things we do, it's not that God is calling us to do those things. It's just that we want to do it to either impress others or to make ourselves feel good, even when it's not necessary, you know? So I told myself, like, I'm not going to beat myself up about not getting up that last video of Christmas decor. I didn't show you guys the outdoors or the front living room decor because I kind of just couldn't, and that's okay. So in that way, I have to, try to be nice to myself. But I got all of the Christmas decor down, or most of it. I'm still like in the midst of moving a lot of stuff out into the garage and everything. But now I'm just kind of straightening up. This little shelf, I've rearranged it so many times. It's even a little bit broken, but I'm trying not to spend too much money and buy another one, because if I do, it's probably going to be another cheap one that's going to break. It's not going to be one that I love. So I'm going to wait until I can actually find one that I really love. Maybe something really nice and antique. So for now, makeshift is to put something up under it to hold that shelf in place, and it's gonna work for now until I need to use that book. But in the meantime, this is what we're gonna do. And this small little book holder that I'm taking all of the books off of and putting them on the shelf, I'm actually going to move that bookshelf into the baby's room now that she's getting a bit older. So I'm kind of just, trying to go through and organize all of this stuff and just seeing if anything can be thrown out. What you guys didn't see is that for the past 2 weeks, I've been decluttering a lot of stuff. One thing that I do when I am under stress is clean more, which sounds crazy, but like I said, sometimes I enjoy cleaning unless I feel like I'm doing it like ill-intended, basically, like because I'm in a rush to get something done or impress someone. Otherwise, it's just kind of therapeutic to get my space comfortable and clean and safe. And so I just spent 2 weeks throwing out a bunch of clothes that I don't need, don't love, don't wear that much. It's not in my current season anymore. I'm leaning towards more modest clothing, more comfortable clothing. There's just a lot of things that I just didn't need in my wardrobe anymore. And I was just, like I said, wanting to get rid of a lot of stuff, a lot of clutter, and lean more into a minimalistic type of a lifestyle. I know that having children, there are going to be a lot of things that I want, but I am really trying to learn how to not be minimal, but just simple. I think those are two different things. So a lot of things I had already gotten out, and I'm hoping and planning to do a lot more of that, and I'll share it with you guys as I dive deeper into it. And now I'm just, rearranging some more things to just make it work. I'm not trying to make it look super pretty. I'm just trying to make it work. Easier to clean, easier to access and get to the things that we love, our favorites, and the things that we use regularly. So another one of my goals for the new year is to just really find the beauty of simple living and decluttering my life. Not just decluttering my home, but decluttering my life in all areas, physically, mentally, emotionally, and getting rid of the distractions that are keeping me from just everyday blessings and things that are most important in life, as well as embracing biblical peace, motherhood, wifehood, servanthood, all other things that just point us back to God and Jesus. Our world is so full of distractions, and we don't even realize how far away from God it takes us. In a world that glorifies like busyness and accumulation of more things, the prettiest and most aesthetically pleasing organizing bins, where organizing is supposed to be something that just works for us and makes our life a little bit easy. But if you just have so much stuff and clutter, no matter how many organizing bins you buy and how much organizing you do, it's never gonna work. You're gonna always be reorganizing, because it's not that you need to organize, it's just that we have way too much stuff, and that is just what the world has come to. And so the idea of simple living for some might feel countercultural, like go against what the world has taken an approach to lately. But as a mom, the weight of just having too much stuff, too many possessions, too many commitments, and too many distractions can really leave me overwhelmed and have me feeling disconnected from what really matters most. And in studying my Bible, I learned that the Bible itself offers so much wisdom about simplicity that I've never noticed before. It guides us to let go of the clutter in our lives and focus on things like God and family and the blessings that He alone provides, blessings that this world and no amount of stuff can give us. I am choosing to use this next year to embrace the simple living and find freedom and peace and joy in just the current things that we have. Like, there used to be a time where I wouldn't record a vlog if there were like imperfections in my home. For instance, on the floor, you might see me trying to get up that glue by my foot that Noah has built on the floor. This was really like annoying for me. Like, I have to get down on my hands and knees and use like a scraper without scraping up the laminate and get the glue off the floor. And this happened, I think, on Thanksgiving. He and the kids were playing and my time was occupied with the adults, and they got some glue on the floor. So as you can see, a mop is not doing the trick, so I'm gonna have to come back to this. And normally I would just not record because my house is a mess. There's glue stuck on my floor. I am in like raggedy clothes. I don't look the nicest. My surroundings aren't the nicest. And so I feel like because of that, my video may underperform compared to the videos that look a lot more pleasing. Even I sometimes will gravitate towards those videos, but then halfway through, I'm like, why am I watching this? This is not helpful for me because that's not my current situation. So instead of like finding it helpful, and I would find myself wanting to compare, wanting to do more, just to be able to put myself on a level playing field. And I'm letting go of that and bringing back the joy in simple living, stripping away the unnecessary and focusing on what truly adds value to my home and my life. And that's not about depriving myself of the finest things. And you will actually find that by buying less stuff, you have a little bit more money to spend on good quality items that will last you a lot longer, so that in the long run, you're purchasing less things and spending your time on less things. So more about like purpose over perfection and faith over just like fleeting pleasures, and in like spending a little time focusing on the things that are more meaningful, the things that you really, really love, as opposed to the things that you see everyone else doing. You're not just getting whatever seems desirable and whatever is pleasing to you in that moment, but you're focusing on what your purpose is and what purpose the things that you fill your home with in your life serve. And just having faith that by not, leaning into those like pleasures, you're focusing on having faith that God is going to guide you into the things that you want and need in life. So for a mom, for instance, simple living might mean decluttering the home, getting rid of things that you don't need to create a more peaceful environment, less stuff surrounding you and more room for peace. It might mean reducing some of the commitments that you have in your life, the things that you're doing on a daily basis, so that instead of being so busy, you can just be present and spend more time with your children. It may mean prioritizing family over chasing material success. And this is a big one because sometimes we can put so much time and effort into wanting to be successful at life, not realizing that success comes in many different shapes and forms, and it's not always measured by the amount of money in your bank account. Sometimes success is measured in your home, and as a homemaker, it really is that. And so when you prioritize that, you're not chasing material success, meaning like more stuff in your home and more money in your pocket. Instead, you are chasing success in your actual life, things that matter, things that are more eternal. As well as just embracing contentment with what God has already given you. You can really fall down a rabbit hole of wanting more things and feeling like you need more things. And in that way, you can fall into sin in which you might forget to just be grateful for what you already have. And I know that I have in that way. And so for me, simple living is about being able to align more with biblical principles, biblical motherhood, biblical servanthood, and biblical homemaking, so that I can remember that my life is not defined by the things that I have, but by a faithfulness to God and focusing on the relationship that He has entrusted me with. And those relationships include my husband and my children. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on. Philippians chapter 4, verse 19 says, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus." And so, simple living begins with trusting His provision instead of striving to accumulate more, so that we can rest in His assurance that He will supply everything that we need. I am going on a journey of getting rid of a lot of the things that at one point I might have felt like I need, so that instead of leaning on that stuff, I am going to lean on God alone to supply all of my needs. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verses 6 through 7 says, "But godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it." And so decluttering our lives isn't about just physical possessions as mentioned. It's also about cultivating contentment within our hearts as well. And just letting go of all types of things, letting go of control and surrendering that to God, which I mentioned I struggled with before, letting go of like worry and anxiety, a thing that so many people have now. I hear so many people now saying that they have anxiety like more than ever before. And the Bible even tells us that we shouldn't worry about our life or what we will eat or drink, about our body or what we will wear, because it's not life more than food and the body more than clothes. Basically, it's telling us like, don't worry about all of those things, because life is more than that. It's more than the clothes that we wear, the stuff that we have in our house, and stressing over what meal we're going to prepare for our family. And instead, it just reminds us to focus on things that are, eternal, rather than things that are of this world. By choosing to live simply, you are also choosing to serve God and trust Him to provide everything that you need without worrying about so much stuff that can just suck the true joy out of life, out of motherhood, and out of homemaking. And I don't know about you guys, but I am so tired of just feeling empty. I watch so many vlogs and hear so many moms talk about how they feel tired, they feel depressed, they feel empty. The one thing that I struggle with every winter is seasonal depression, and I have tried so many things to shake this seasonal depression, and I think I'm really realizing now that nothing is going to get rid of this seasonal depression. It's something that I'm just going to have to find contentment in, and the only way I'm going to do that is with God. That is what I'm leaning towards. That is what I am going to try and conquer this season. I'm not going to give in to seasonal depression this year. Instead, I'm going to overcome it with God. So now we have 15 more minutes of cleaning motivation. So if you are cleaning with me, now is the time to kick it into gear and finish it out strong. Pick an area of the home that you can finish cleaning up within 15 minutes so that you will have that win for today. If you want to keep on cleaning and you don't want to finish it up in the next 15 minutes, then I highly encourage you to just go ahead and click on my cleaning playlist. I have so much cleaning motivation for you. I will link it below as well as in the top corner of this video. But if you want to finish it out with me together, we have 15 more minutes left. So let's go ahead and kick it into gear and finish it out strong. I am now cleaning my daughter's nursery. Sometimes a lot of things just get put out of place. She still has a few Christmas gifts that we haven't opened and sanitized properly yet. And as mentioned before, I am moving some books upstairs to her room. So these are some books that I saved from Noah when he was a baby, and they were still pretty good in condition. So now I'm going to be putting them onto the shelf for her. And as you can see, I'm doing it kind of quickly. Like, I'm not doing it in any pretty way because, as mentioned, it's not about being pretty, it's just about being useful right now. So I'm just putting them on the shelf, and it's going to be okay. Later, I realized that I didn't think it thoroughly through because now there's no space for the additional books that I need to add. But I'm thinking that eventually I'm going to find her another bookshelf as well, something that might fit better in here. So eventually I am going to replace the bookshelf, but for now, this is the one that we're using, and I'm just putting some like first word books, some easy to read, like really fun picture books in here for her. And besides that, I'm just going to vacuum the floor. It's not a whole lot in here I need to do because last week I went through all of her clothes and took out everything that she couldn't fit anymore. I folded her laundry, and so I do have a large bin that needs to go into storage for if we have another child, as well as some things that we are going to put into the donation bin. But besides that, her room was pretty easy to clean. My son's, on the other hand, I also went through his clothing and made sure that I got rid of anything that he could no longer fit and did some decluttering in here. I even moved some things around, but he still has a lot of like Christmas toys out that I'm okay with leaving out for him because he's been doing a lot of like television and wanting to play video games. So I'm hoping that by seeing his toys already out, it encourages him to gravitate towards that. I recently had to make it to where he can't play video games during the week, only on Fridays and Saturdays, and until about 6 p.m. on Sunday. And then throughout the week, he can just do schoolwork, read books, and play with toys because he's getting older. He is almost 6 years old, and that's around the age when I hear that kids begin to stop wanting to play with toys. And so I want to foster that creativity in him as long as I can and not have him get bored and tired of finding things to keep busy. So if he's still wanting to play with toys, I'm going to allow him to do that as much as I can, especially now that he's getting towards that age where they grow out of it. So leaving all the toys out for him to play. It doesn't have to be really pretty because I have a kid and he plays in here, and that's something to just be thankful for, to just be grateful for. One, that he still loves to play. Two, that we are able to provide toys for him to play. And three, that I have, children running around the house, children that one day when they're grown up and they move out, I am truly going to miss. So I'm just in that way practicing some gratitude. And then once his room is all clean, I can move on to my least favorite part of cleaning, which is the bathrooms. So while I'm cleaning the bathrooms, I'm gonna go ahead and play some relaxing music and try to finish out this cleaning vlog strong.
Preacher said God would never give more than I could handle on my own. But I don't know if I believe that to be true. 'Cause there've been some times when I've been all alone and wanted to give up, but you helped me stand. Yeah. God, He used you, shined right through you in ways you will never know. So many ways that you'll never know. Mountain mover, bulletproof, yeah. You made me stronger. You had a faith that I'll never know. No, you had a faith that I'll never know. You prayed away rainy days, even kept a smile if they stayed. 'Cause either way, you stood on the rock and not on the sand. No. There's sweet memories of all the little things you did to show me love. And you helped me stand. Yeah. God, He used you, shined right through you in ways you will never know. So many ways that you'll never know. Mountain mover, bulletproof, yeah. You made me stronger. You had a faith that I'll never know. Yeah. You had a faith that I'll never know. Kings will rise and fall, bending for the fame. And seasons come and go, and time will bring some pain. But if there's one thing that I know, you will always remain the same. Yeah. No, you'll never change. No. God, He used you, shine right through you in ways you will never know. So many ways that you'll never know. Mountain mover, bulletproof, yeah. You made me stronger. You had a faith that I'll never know. You had a faith that I'll never know. No, you had a faith that I'll never know. No, you had a faith that I'll never know. No, you had a faith that I'll never know.
Everyone needs a shoulder to cry on. Everyone needs a helping hand. Everyone needs someone to rely on. Yes, everyone needs a friend. So let's come together, celebrate each other, stand united as one. We lift our hands up and pray, lay all our love before Him with all of our faith. He is the change within us, there is a light. Let Him lead the way, lift our hands up and pray today. Oh, pray. Everyone needs somebody to lean on. Everyone needs someone who cares. If we come together as one, help each other get stronger. We are let's come together. Yeah, let's come together. We lift our hands up and pray. Lay all our love before Him with all of our faith. He is the change within us. There is a light. Let Him lead the way. Lift our hands up and pray today. Oh, pray. Oh, pray. Oh, pray. Oh, pray.
Alright, you guys, with that, we sum up today's whole house clean with me. I hope that you guys got some cleaning motivation for that. I was able to tackle everything except for the basement, which I'll probably head down there sometime tomorrow because now it's time for me to take a shower and prepare dinner for the family. Downstairs is just our workout room, which we are currently in the middle of like remodeling, as well as our laundry room, which we are reorganizing the kids' toy rotation system and everything. So a little bit more work that I need to tackle downstairs, but we are just about almost, I want to say like 75% done down there, so I'll tackle that tomorrow. But as for everything else, I was able to accomplish as much as I needed to today. I'm pretty satisfied. Again, I was pretty much being like kind of nice to myself, making sure that I didn't go like overboard, like be super crazy, like trying to scrub the cabinets. I just did that maybe like 4 months ago. I try to do that at least every 6 months, like get into the nitty-gritty. Normally it's like around this time, the end of the year, but because I did a full deep clean when I was nesting and everything, a lot of things just weren't necessary, and this is just not that time in my season, and I'm being very intentional about where I insert my time. So now I'm gonna go take a shower because I just got finished scrubbing the toilets. But I hope that you guys got some, motivation. If you needed some motivation to clean your home for the holidays, I hope that this served helpful for you. If it did, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button. And then if you are new here on this channel, I would love for you to join the family. My name is Heaven, and I share homemaking videos, motherhood videos, and things like that. So go ahead and hit the subscription button, turn it from red to gray if you would like to join our internet fam. But that's going to be all for today's video. I hope that you guys have a wonderful new year, and I will see you guys in 2025.